Welcome, happy Wednesday. Welcome to the stream. Welcome to Constitution Study Group. My name is Elise, and today I'm delayed. I am delayed. My video is delayed, and I'm very sorry about that. I could go fix it, but I don't have the patience to do that right now. So I'm just going to go with the flow. Hey Debbie, welcome in. Good to see ya. Today we are going to be taking a look at specifically the verdict of the Kyle Rittenhouse case that completed last week. You know, a lot of heavy emotions and thoughts and ideas around that verdict. But I found some interesting peer-reviewed articles that I thought would be good for us to look over to like better understand the constitutional context of how the verdict was reached, and also the argument of how that verdict is actually incorrect and that the justice system is not addressing the Constitution as it was written. I have my assistant Bitcoin over here crying like a baby. So I do apologize for the incessant crying. He's begging for food as he usually is. I'm gonna be drinking some tea and get relaxed and mellowed out while we're gonna be discussing something so highly emotional, so highly from both sides. So Debbie, a lot of people believe that the verdict was correct, and I want to validate that. I also hold space for all perspectives and angles, and so that's why I found this article, and it's specifically around armed assembly. So it's not even about specifically murder, because that's what I think. See you later, Terrell. I appreciate you. I love you so much. Have a great week. Perhaps we're missing out on seeing a bigger picture opportunity for us to see if like our Constitution, if like we're serving our Constitution well with our current policies. So I found an article. It was written just this year. It's a brand new article, peer-reviewed article in let's see, where was this published? Northwestern University Law Review. Titled "When Two Rights Make a Wrong: Armed Assembly Under the First and Second Amendments." So we'll specifically looking at the First and Second Amendments. Alright, this delay is bothering me way too much, so I'm actually gonna hop behind cam to fix my delay. Because yeah, it's really delayed now. It does that. Oh, thank you. I broke a nail today. It's so heartbreaking. Like, that's how long it was. And it got broken. And it got broken, like, really low. Actually, it broke so low, I had to, like, file it so that it doesn't damage. You see that? You see how it, like... Yeah, anyway. Yeah, I'm gonna fix the delay on the camera. I know it's annoying. It's annoying me to see it. It's my decoder. For some reason, the decoder, like, once I call all the cams to the different softwares that I use it like puts all of the timing at different points. Hey Scotty, welcome in. Good to see you. Welcome to Constitution Study Group. I'm gonna be right back in 1 second. Actually, I should turn my cam off here. I'll turn it back on when I get back. Alright, I'm still here. I'm gonna get these cameras back on. What the fuck? It's still making a delay. Ugh. Oh well, I'm not gonna give too much time to this. I cannot. Debbie, thank you for the hearts. So y'all just gotta deal. I'm sorry. Like, I assure you, this is live. I am here. You can write something in the chat to challenge my live status. But yeah, there's a little bit of delay between my cam and the audio. Chitosi, a Japanese friend. Chitosi, I haven't talked to you in so long. Welcome to the stream. Thanks for stopping by. Stopping by on Facebook. Yeah, I'm streaming to my other platforms right now. Constitution Study Group, Scotty. We are going to be looking at the First and Second Amendments in regards to armed assembly. You're chilling? Awesome. Good to hear that. You were busy building cars today or what? Hey, Angel. Welcome in. Nice to meet you. My name is Elise. Aw, Groot. Again, just a disclaimer to remind y'all that what we're doing here is not political at all. We are not talking about politics. We are not talking about any specific perspective or viewpoint. We are strictly talking about the Constitution, which is all of ours. It's the protocol in which all of us find ways to be polite with one another. Why is he not whining? The dog is always whining. No, it's because I've got a hamburger over here he wants. Here, I'll give him the tomato. Hopefully this will satisfy him for a second. He'll be crying again. Do you like the Second Amendment? Well, Scotty, alright, let's look at it. We're gonna look at this. I've got an article here. Actually, I'm trying to get my tea going first. You know, the Second Amendment was specifically for arms for militia, right? Which we don't have militia now that we have the police. Oh, Groot, thank you for the ring. Yeah, now that we have like a properly defined and established police system, we do not have militias. So the Second Amendment is like kind of invalid. So there's that. But we're actually gonna be looking at like an academic article to understand better the specifics on that. What's Bitcoin? Like I've got like the bare bottom of this box of tea I'm gonna use. I deserve better than a digital virtual ring. Thank you, Groot. Appreciate that you identify that. It's like all of the dust at the bottom of the box, but hey, it's still good tea, even though it's dust. Most people would just throw that away. Hey, Pikachu, welcome in. Let's see. Let me get everybody on Twitch to see this. Yeah, this is a Forever Spring Oolong. This is just a Taiwanese lightly roasted oolong. It's the bottom of the box, that's why it's all dusty like that. But instead of throwing it away, I'm gonna brew it now. I'm gonna drink it. I'm gonna enjoy it. Hey J-Glow, welcome in. Good to see you. Alright, tea to calm the nerves, because we about to be talking about some shit. Some crazy shit. So yeah, I'm gonna be starting up an article right now. It should be good. It should be good. Titled, When Two Rights Make a Wrong, Armed Assembly under the First and Second Amendments. Let's start out with the abstract. Oh, the mint's coming tomorrow. Groot, give me the tracking number. I need it. I need it. So here's the gist of what we're about to read right now. This essay argues on textual, historical, doctrinal, and normative grounds that there is no constitutional right of armed assembly. It rejects the proposition that the First Amendment right to assemble and the putative Second Amendment right to public carriage of firearms in non-sensitive places combine to create a right to armed assembly. While acknowledging that in some circumstances the courts recognize a hybrid right that is greater than the sum of its parts, this essay finds no basis for concluding that the First and Second Amendments add up to a right to armed assembly. My day's been good, sweet C. Eros, welcome in. Nice to meet you. My name is Elise. It's been a beautiful day here in Las Vegas. We're nearly to 80 degrees. It's December 1st, and we're still at like the fall time weather. It's wonderful. All right, so the person that wrote this article, his name is Robert S. Stevens. He's a professor of law at Cornell Law School. So I think this guy knows what he's talking about. I think he knows what he's talking about, but you know, we'll see. We'll see. And again, this is a study group, so this is for all of us to share our ideas, our perspectives, our experiences, our questions. And no question is wrong or right. Like, this is just an opportunity for us to learn better, to become better people together. Because we got to be friendly. We got to get along. All right, so because the insurrectionists who stormed the Capitol on January 6th were clearly acting unlawfully, virtually no one has suggested that they were acting within their constitutional rights by assembling armed with guns. Hitoshi, welcome! Oh, thank you for the baseball. I almost got hit. I almost got knocked out by that ball. Thank you, Hitoshi. Ohio. Right, that's interesting. The January 6th stuff is going on and no one is batting an eye at the charges. Yet, you know, the verdict from last week with Rittenhouse, like, there's this big argument of like, oh no, he was just to have his gun there and that was self-defense. So it's kind of interesting how things don't add up. Yeah, other recent armed assemblies are most difficult to classify as simple lawbreaking. For example, on April 30th, 2020, protesters carrying rifles entered the Michigan State House to register their displeasure with Governor Gretchen Whitmer's order that non-essential workers temporarily stay home to combat the COVID-19 pandemic. Fortunately, no violence occurred on that day, nor later in the year, when federal agents charged like-minded armed anti-government activists in a plot to kidnap Governor Whitmer. Bitcoin. You're just seeking attention. See you later, sweet C. Bye-bye. Bitcoin says bye-bye. Really? Really? This is how you feel? Jaglo, thanks for the hearts. Nice bit of techno to go along with our Constitution study group, talking about armed assembly. The same cannot be said with respect to another 2020 assembly. Following an August 2020 confrontation in Kenosha, Wisconsin between Black Lives Matter protesters and counter-protesters, Kyle Rittenhouse was charged with the fatal shooting of 2 unarmed individuals. Likewise, death resulted from a clash at an assembly of armed protesters at a Unite the Right rally in Charlottesville, Virginia in August 2017, where white supremacist James Alex Fields murdered Heather Hare, an unarmed counter-protester. Although Fields happened to use a car rather than a firearm as his weapon, the lapsing Kenosha and Charlottesville incidents all raise the same urgent constitutional question: does the First Amendment, the Second Amendment, or the 2 provisions in combination protect a right of armed assembly? If the Second Amendment does not include a right to public carriage, as some lower courts have held it does not, then there is no right to armed assembly. That's really important, Scotty, if you're still here. If you're still here. The Second Amendment does not just overall legalize carrying guns. That's not the point of the Second Amendment. And there's a lot of confusion there. A lot of confusion there. A law banning or restricting public carriage would not violate the Second Amendment, and so long as the government even-handedly applied that general prohibition, rather than singling out protesters or exercising the right of expressive association While permitting other sorts of armed gatherings, there would be no First Amendment violation either. J-Glow, thank you for the 10 fan noise. So Pikachu, where's Pikachu? I know Pikachu's got lots of ideas. He says, but that plot was created by the FBI and their informants. Which plot? Man, the FBI must, like, both hate and love smartphones and the metaverse, the internet. Because it's like, on one hand, like, it's so hard to fabricate things because... Oh, that one. Okay, I see Pikachu. Alright, yeah, I'm not talking about that. That was just written in this article, I see. Yeah, because if, like, the FBI or whatever intelligence agency is trying to, like, fabricate a story or cover up a story, it's so hard to do that with everybody, like, posting content all over. But at the same time, because everybody's posting content all over, it's very easy to plant content, too. To, you know, fuel the story. So, it's probably a little bit of both. Hey, Archie! Good to see you. Yet there is reason to worry that the Supreme Court will hold that the Second Amendment protects a right of public carriage. Indeed, such a ruling seems to follow from the court's statement in D.C. versus Heller that the Second Amendment does not protect a right to carry firearms in sensitive places. What the fuck is sensitive places? If there were no general right to public carriage, then every place outside the home would be sensitive. And there would have been no reason to identify schools and government buildings as examples of exception to the general rule. Alright, so there you go. That makes sense. So sensitive places is, yeah, anywhere outside of the home. Thank you, Pikachu, for the hashtag. Which, that makes sense. Hey, you know, if someone wants to have a gun in their home to feel secure for them and their family, like, I would never bat an eye. I would never say anything to someone. When I do, like, not feel comfortable, and it's not because I don't feel safe, I just feel like, what kind of people do we live among? Or, you know, like, or what do others think they live among? That they feel the necessity to carry a gun with them wherever they go. Yeah, I was at a fucking noodle shop. And a family came in here in Chinatown, here in Vegas. It's open carry here. I was in a noodle shop, and this whole family was like 4 generations, like cute family, from the baby all the way to the grandpappy or whatever. And all the men, all the adult men in the family, all had huge pistols hanging out the back of their pants for fucking noodles. Then the ice cream shop right next door, I was in there one day getting myself an ice cream, and there was like a maintenance man slash, he was a maintenance man. I'm not gonna say slash. He was trying to slash his own job and give himself other responsibilities. But he was a freaking maintenance man at the ice cream shop, and he was carrying a big old pistol on him. And it's like, it's not even your job. I heard a security guard killed somebody this past week. I think Black Friday. And there's a lot of discourse going on about how a security guard doesn't have any business having a gun on their person. Yeah, J-Glow, dude, J-Glow, Vegas is, I don't know if you've noticed this, I know you're new to Vegas. Vegas, total open carry. Now that I've told you, you're probably gonna see it all over. Yeah, I know a lot of states like Missouri, they're open carry. But Vegas is like kind of like a metropolis type of setting. Like, there's no... What the heck? I mean, that makes me think, like, the family's going out for noodles. Like, what kind of trouble do they think that they're going to encounter that every single man in the family needs to be carrying a pistol? I mean, it's one thing to have it in your glove compartment. Yeah, well, so in your house, do you carry it around with you, Groot? Like, and if you do, like, why? You know what I mean? I understand if it's at your house. Yeah, shootout over noodles, right, J-Glow? It's like, what the fuck? Like, and then I'm thinking, okay, so either these people are, like, severely insecure that they have to walk around with guns, and that just makes me kind of feel nauseous. Or these people are, like, involved in organized crime or something where they need to protect themselves like that when they go get noodles. Oh, you do carry it with you, Groot. Groot, man. Why? What do you need it for, Groot? You got attacked at a Chick-fil-A, Archie? Oh my goodness, I'm so sorry to hear that. I know shit goes down. Right, when I was an Uber driver, everybody... in downtown LA, fuck. Yeah, Groot. No, you do know nowadays, Groot. You do know. You do know. Like... yeah, you do know, Groot. See, Pikachu is at least in touch with his truth. Yeah, when I was an Uber driver in Vegas, right? And I did a lot. I was aggressively Uber driving here, like, all the time, like 60 hours a week. And yeah, I had some, like, sketchy situations, sketchy people. And people would be like, oh, you should have a gun. And I get it. Maybe I should have some type of protection. Groot, thank you so much for helping me hit 5,000 fan noise. Got a bonus, got a bonus, got a bonus, bonus, bonus. And Groot, all the love to you. I know I'm asking you questions about your choices, and I appreciate your willingness to communicate with us. Like, you don't have to. You can say, I don't consent. I don't need to talk to you about my business. It's fine. But, like, I'm thinking, okay, like, let's say I do have a gun. And, like, let's say somebody gets in the back of my seat, and they pull a gun on me. And then, you know, what am I supposed to do? Pull a gun on them? And then what is that going to resolve? Like, that is only going to resolve in haste. Like, it's just going to hasten the situation. And someone making an irrational, be it me or be it the other person, someone making a hasty decision about how to respond. I just find, like, guns of all weapons, and I'm actually very pro-weapon. I collect weapons. I master them. Oh shit, okay, let me catch that screenshot. Got it. Yeah, I put in my time to master them because I want to be proficient, and I want to have confidence and strength in my own defense. But yeah, I don't want to do it with a gun. It's just gonna immediately trigger someone. Like, oh, they got a gun, I gotta act first. Versus, like, someone pull a gun on me and I'm able to, like, have more time with using my words. Pikachu, did your nephew How old is your nephew? Alright, I'm gonna get back to this article. To be sure, one can make a plausible argument that the right recognized in Heller should be restricted to the home. For purposes of this essay, however, I assume that there is a Second Amendment right to some form of public carriage. Even so, that assumption does not answer the question whether there is a right of public carriage by armed groups. Hold on. If there's a Second Amendment right to carry a firearm in public in a non-sensitive place, and a First Amendment right to expressive assembly absent a content-neutral time, place, or manner restriction, or a strict scrutiny satisfying justification for limiting gatherings, then does it not follow as a matter of simple algorithmic that there is a right of armed assembly. Just So then why would I have a gun group? So I can pull a gun on someone else? Like, I thought the purpose of a gun would be to, like, potentially have the upper hand if something happens. Oh, your nephew is 26, I see. Oh, that's good. Is he manic? But that's good that your nephew made that realization, because yeah, that's what it's gonna like cause accidents. Like, if anything, it's gonna cause accidents. So it's like, why put yourself into that situation where an accident could potentially happen? Just like it happened for Kyle Rittenhouse. That was a self-defense accident. It fucking wouldn't have happened if he wasn't there, or if he didn't have a gun on him. Yeah, the only reason why I would ever pull a gun on someone is if they pulled it on me first. Okay, so it does not. This essay argues that there is no constitutional right of armed groups to assemble, even assuming a constitutional right of individuals to carry weapons in public. I do not contend that the Constitution places no limits on the regulation of armed gatherings. If the government restricted armed assemblies of anti-vaccination protesters but not vaccination proponents, that would be an impermissible viewpoint-based restriction on speech. If the government permitted armed protests by white people but not African Americans, that would violate equal protection. But even-handed restrictions on armed gatherings, even-handedly applied to armed protesters, should not run afoul of the First, Second, or both amendments. The balance of this essay proceeds in 3 parts. Part 1 examines the original understanding of the First, Second, and 14th Amendments. I find little historical support for a private right of armed assembly. Part 2 turns to judicial precedents and related normative considerations. I conclude that there is no sound basis for a right of armed assembly. The First Amendment protects the right of people peacefully to assemble. Although it is possible to assemble peacefully while armed, large gatherings of armed individuals inherently create a substantial risk of violence, either by themselves or in a confrontation with the police or counter-protesters. That inherent risk justifies a ban on armed assembly. Meanwhile, in most circumstances, armed assembly is far removed from self-defense, which the Heller Court identified as the core lawful purpose of firearms. Okay, let's get this again. Armed assembly is far removed from self-defense, which is the core lawful purpose for firearms. So how convenient that the Rittenhouse verdict is innocent for self-defense. If you were to hit a guy, no. Is that true? Is that accurate, Gru? I think that if you were to, like, randomly punch a guy versus randomly shoot a guy, the chances of killing that guy is much higher with the gun than with your punch. I don't know. Oh, Archie, okay, Archie, thanks for being back here. Yone, thank you for the spam. Jiggle, thank you for the 50 fan noise. Yeah, so even if you know what you're doing with the gun and you're like trying to disarm them or you're trying to immobilize them, right? Would they say shoot them in the leg or the foot or something? I don't know. I don't know anything about that stuff. But like that's what I would think. Like if I was in a situation where I had to pick up somebody's gun and like I do. Is Daniel in Vegas still? Did he just decide to move here? Tell him to come. I'm here. I'm ready. I had a party on Saturday. I invited him to. He didn't come. Oh, y'all are in Miami. That's right. Yeah. He told me y'all were in Miami enjoying Art Basel. That's cool. Y'all have fun. Be safe. And you were in NYC? Wow. Your hands are lethal weapons? Shoot to neutralize. What does that mean? I mean, is that the proper term for what I was describing of like shooting them in the leg or the arm, like shooting them to disarm them or shooting them so they can't get away? Oh, it's a nice way of saying immobilize. Okay, cool. Got it. Yeah, I would think that you would be, it'd be your rate of success using your bare hands over using a gun to achieve that, to neutralize, is a lot higher. Actually, no, maybe not. Maybe the gun is more effective for that. But from Groot's perspective, he made the argument that if he was to use his hands, the likelihood of him killing a man would be higher with his hands than with a gun. Oh yeah, that's right, you're a vet. But you're also old and kind of, you know, in a different, you know, state of your life now, Groot. There must be some special reason why 2 or more unsuccessful constitutional claims add up to a successful one. No such reason exists for armed, essentially. Okay, so let's, the original understanding of the First, Second, and 14th Amendments provides little support for a private right of armed assembly. On the contrary, historical evidence from the early republic tends to negate a constitutional right of armed protest. Meanwhile, to the extent that views about arms bearing changed during the 19th century, they evolved away from the notions of a collective right, thereby undermining any possibility that the First and Second Amendments might provide greater protection for a private right of armed assembly as incorporated against the states under the 14th Amendment. Finally, to the extent that so-called semantic originalism allows for a divergence between the original meaning of constitutional language and the original concrete expectations of the ratifying public, the former provides no grounds for a private right of armed assembly beyond the normative and doctrinal considerations addressed below in Part 2. Thanks, Archie. I appreciate that. Yeah, I do these on Wednesdays. Constitution. I'm not. Yeah, I mean, I guess I'm not calculating Groot's punch. I mean, if you got a powerful punch, can't you control it? Like, it's powerful for a fucking reason. It's not powerful because you're a freaking Hulk. Like, it's powerful because you have strategy and you know how to harness energy and you know what you're doing. So just like you know how to have a powerful, deadly punch, you should also know how to have a powerful, stern, effective, neutralizing punch. Oh, Groot going to jail. Now we need a fight class. Let's do it. I should do it. I should totally. I've got friends that teach like self-defense, martial arts, and such. We should do it one day. Cause I do advocate for self-defense, like, but personal strength over a freaking gun. The requirements to retreat. Yeah, that kid didn't retreat. He had a semi-automatic weapon. Did any of his victims have guns? Hey Daniel, welcome in. Good to see you. Thank you for the heart. We're talking about armed assembly, the constitutional right for armed assembly in Ohio. What happened in Ohio? So that's what happened. He started to retreat. No, not like a militia. So like, that's smart, Daniel, that you said that, because the Second Amendment does protect the right to bear arms for the purpose of militia. But since the advent of the police system, we don't have militias anymore. Yeah, I do it on Wednesdays. Constitution Study Group. I don't always talk about arms. I hardly ever talk about arms, actually, but we do talk about civility. That's actually why it's like one of the keywords of my profile here, civility. You know, civil duty. Civility just means our capacity for politeness with one another. In our Constitution, the Constitution of the United States of America, a very important document that we're all supposed to love and protect, is essentially our code of ethic. It's like our protocol of civility, our protocol of politeness with one another. Yeah, Daniel, you should have themes, definitely. It helps with your content. It helps like keep you focused and like excited to do new things. Bitcoin. You're going crazy over here. It's a powerful document. It's the world's longest standing democratic constitution. But like, so I've been doing this for almost 2 years now, and I've talked on a lot of different topics, and ultimately have come to learn that like our current system is actually dismissing a lot and going against a lot of what the Constitution says, such as today. So today I'm reading this article just published. It's about like the Black Lives Matter verdicts, or you know, the cases, and you know, the armed assembly that happened that, you know, has led to people's deaths. And this article is already saying, the author, who is a freaking law professor at Cornell, is saying that there is no constitutional grounds that armed assembly is legal. In fact, public bearing of arms, carrying a gun in public, is also unconstitutional, because the Second Amendment is specifically about militia, and we don't have militias anymore. So it's kind of an irrelevant amendment. Cool Cat, thank you for the pinkies. Yeah, only militia. What guy? The writer here? He's not a hater, fuck! Well, yeah, I mean, maybe not get deleted, but amended. You know, if we do want to have some type of right to bear arms for the general public, there does, you're right. There needs to be more clarification of what is actually meant with that. Because all of the pro-gun supporters, which is a lot in this country, it's not a small niche group, it's a significant group of people, rely on that amendment, and it's completely inaccurate. Yeah, only love, for sure. Then make laws funding militias. We fund the fucking police. That's what we have the police for now. You know, and if you want to talk about defunding the police and clarifying that shit, let's do that too, please. Let's do that too. Because that's gotten out of hand. That's definitely gotten out of hand. We don't have militias anymore. We needed militias before because we didn't have... Yeah, and the militias used to be trained. The militias used to be organized and trained. Like, militias were meant to be like these small community groups. They're very localized groups. Like, you know, it's just like you and your neighbors all kind of packing up together. Militias did not go to different places to go do the militia stuff. Like, they like protected their small community. That's what a militia did. And the government said, hey, we need to protect this because this is important. You know, people are out like in the new frontier setting up their communities, they need to have the right to protect themselves. So that's what the Second Amendment was put in there. It was very important at that time. But we don't need militias anymore because we have police. They're not legal. They're not legal, Daniel. And that's what the police are now. Exactly. That's what we have the police for. So, you know, if we want to talk about training our militias better, let's talk about the police system, the policing system. And that's what BLM is all about. That's what BLM was trying to advocate for. So instead, it's like kind of ironic that you have this BLM protest where they're trying to talk about how ineffective our, you know, new age militias are. And then you have these like illegal militia, which Kyle Rittenhouse and his little crew of friends with their guns, that was an unofficial illegal militia. That's what it was. And especially if they're trying to use the Second Amendment to protect their right to be out there with their guns, then they're basically saying, yeah, we weren't a militia. But there's illegal militias. And you know the other illegal militia that we used to have back in the 60s? No one authorizes them. Like, so we have the National Guard. The National Guard is actually officially a militia. And then the police. Although the police, they've become their own beast. Actually, I did one of these Constitution study groups on the police, the history of the police in America, and it blew my fucking mind. The police were actually originally developed as like a reporting system for marginalized people, specifically for marginalized people, to report when they weren't being protected. And actually the first police were for slaves. They were meant to be for slaves to report when there was like unethical activities going on. Not to mention, you know, the whole thing was unethical, but the police were originally meant to be an outlet for marginalized people to go have a voice and be protected. I did not study political science. I'm just doing it now. You know, I'm an adult now, and I'm like, fuck it, we need to learn this stuff. And actually, this all started at the beginning of the pandemic when, you know, people are like, my constitutional right to do this, my constitutional right to do this. And I'm like, wait, like, what constitutional rights do we really have? Like, I didn't pay attention in that class in high school. I think I want to look this up. And I started doing this as like a public forum. So I've learned a lot. I've read the Constitution, read the Federalist Papers, Anti-Federal, like that's how I started. I just like started with the basics. And then every week brought up a different topic. And the police was a very big one because like the BLM protest was going on this whole time. So I was trying to understand the constitutional history. They were protected from insurrection. They were protected from lots of stuff. They were protecting just from, you know, thieves, outsiders from their community trying to come in. But no, the first like militias of modern militias was the freaking Black Panthers. And you know, we could do a whole other study just looking at the story of the Black Panthers and how freaking unfairly they were treated. They turned into Wranglers after some time. The original, yeah, you're right, Cool Cat. That's what they turned into. And once they turned into, you know, they turned into the personal militia for slaveholders, pretty much. Then it just became more and more corrupt. And they're still the same fucking thing. It's still the same thing. If you look at the numbers of like what neighborhoods are being policed and who's going to prison, and it's highly associated with color of skin. Which is like, didn't we abolish all of this? Aren't we supposed to be beyond this? Yeah. But, you know, Gru, even though there's like the mainstream narrative that we're taught, like in our history class or whatever, you can still dig. See you later, Debbie. Love you. You can still dig and find information and find the truth. You know what's another truth that I found when I did this Constitution study group? That the original founding fathers did not believe in political parties. In fact, both the Federalists and the Anti-Federalists, which, you know, those were the two main polarized parties or polarized sects or, you know, people arguing when they were drafting the Constitution. Both sides said we do not need political parties. We do not want political parties. George Washington, our first president, did not serve as our president as associated with the party. I always thought, Cool Cat, I mean, you're educating me about the details. Diggle, 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 wiggle, wiggle, wiggle. Welcome, Diggle. Love you. Yeah, you taught me, Cool Cat. I didn't know that specifically about self-defense, that if you initiate force and then retreat, it can be self-defense. I didn't know that. Yeah, Daniel, most of the Constitution, we're not even respecting it properly. We're not even using it properly. Oh, it's just an Ohio thing. Well, the fuck, they were in Wisconsin. You mean in Wisconsin? Diggle, welcome in. Constitution Study Group. I see. So it's just for there. That's how he got away with it. Diggle, I missed you. It's been like a week since I've seen you. We're talking about the constitutional right for armed assembly. Yeah, had he pulled that shit in friggin' California, that could be in jail. Yeah, Archie, I talked about this earlier. You know, if someone chooses to have a firearm for their home protection, I'm actually not against it. Wait, Diggle, did you have to go to the hospital for your COVID? Don't get into it. Never mind. Don't get into it. Thank you, Diggle. We love you, and we are so happy. We are so happy that you're here with us. We are so happy. Happy. You want to learn, Archie? Hey, there's no harm in that. You know what I want? I want like one of those crossbow. Like, I want a crossbow. If I'm ever gonna shoot someone, you're gonna come into my house and try to intrude, and you're gonna get an arrow in your butt, and it won't feel good. I've got my kukri, so I do have a blade, and someone was telling me that that's even more vicious, and it's like, I actually, you know, it's not the, like, viciousness or the cruelness of how you kill someone, because they're like, oh, well, you should just have a gun, because if you're gonna kill them, at least you just kill them with a shot, versus if you ended up killing someone with a kukri is like a big, strong, thick blade, you know, that would basically just hack through anything that you went for. And they're like, oh, that's so terrible, like, why? And it's like, well, you know what? That's probably gonna stop me from killing someone, like, irrationally just hacking at someone. Like, it would be such a more powerful tool of self-defense than a gun. Because, like, yeah, someone's gonna see a big fat blade like that with someone with crazy eyes and be like, yeah, I'm not getting close to her, I'm getting out of here. Yeah, your German Shepherds are great. Oh, thank you. I broke one nail today, this morning. I was like really heartbroken. It used to be that long. And then it broke all the way down. Thanks, Archie. Yeah, you're right. Oh, you want telekinesis, Daniel? That would be a good skill to have. Yeah, you wouldn't need any guns if you had that. The government putting out what they want you to know, then they try to change the Bill of Rights. How are they going to change the Bill of Rights? I don't see how that could happen. Alright, I'm going to get back to this article. It would be surprising to discover that the original understanding of the First or Second Amendment protected armed assemblies in the modern sense, because current views of those amendments are anachronistic as applied to the early republic. There are no founding-era Second Amendment cases, at least according to the justices in the majority. Heller in 2008 was a case of first impression. To be sure, the Heller majority purported to apply the original understanding, but its views of that understanding were hotly contested by the dissenters, and the emergence of armed self-defense as the right protected by the Second Amendment was a late 20th century phenomenon. Interesting. Huh, did you hear that? The emergence of armed self-defense as the right protected by the Second Amendment was a late 20th century phenomenon. That means, like, within the past 50 years, people have been saying, oh, Second Amendment, Second Amendment. And before that... Come on, you gotta clean your ears, boy. Am I back? Let me know, y'all. It told me my internet went down. Come on. I love you and all, but I know you're just gonna come up here and be moaning, making noise. Meanwhile, Professor Judd Campbell has recently argued forcibly beyond forbidding what we now call prior restraints at the founding in the early republic. The implications of the First Amendment's speech and press clauses were indeterminate and contested. Oh, Groot. Yeah. I know, I can't even imagine. So I ain't trying to kill anybody, even in self-defense. That's why I don't want a gun. What about the right of people peacefully to assemble and to petition the government for a redress of grievances? Was this language originally understood to include mass gatherings of armed protesters? In short, no. Consider a 1794 incident during the Whiskey Rebellion in western Pennsylvania when a group of armed protesters sought to erect a liberty pole to symbolize their opposition to attacks they considered oppressive. Despite their earlier association with the American Revolution, by the time of the Whiskey Rebellion, the use of liberty poles as a prop in public ritual had a radical plebeian cast at both Federalists and Jeffersonian Republicans who agreed on little else rejected. Unsurprisingly, elite disdain for the erection of liberty poles was shared by judges. Thus, when a justice of the peace was prosecuted for failing to intervene against the protesters, the Supreme Court of Pennsylvania allowed the case to proceed and unanimously declared that the setting up of a pole at any time in a tumultuous manner with arms is a riot. I bet, Groot. I can't even imagine. I can't even imagine what it's like. And I don't want to. I'm perfectly cool never having that opportunity to know what it feels like. Hey, Pinky, welcome in. Nice to meet you, William. Welcome in. My name is Elise. Welcome, welcome. What the fuck is a liberty pole? Have y'all heard of this before? You put claps in the spam. So it was invented after the assassination of Julius Caesar. That's interesting. A liberty pole. Let's check out the Wikipedia. I never heard of this before. So it's a revolutionary symbol. Thank you for the blushing pinky. Thank you. Okay, let's move on. To defend a right to armed protest on historical grounds, one might try to cabin that statement by emphasizing tumultuous manner. Would armed protesters acting civilly rather than tumultuously have had their rights recognized? Again, no. The Pennsylvania Supreme Court opinion indicates that it was the fact of armed assembly for purposes of expression that rendered the group riotous. The court states that at any time the setting up of a liberty pole is dangerous, only then adding that it was especially so during a time of insurrection. This episode suggests an extremely narrow conception of what constituted peaceable assembling. In the early republic, one that certainly did not include armed assemblies. Yeah, good for them, Cool Cat. And then they would have all been getting charged, because all of those people are getting charged for illegally having an armed assembly. I mean, they're getting charged with other specific things, but just being there with a weapon, yep. Versus Rittenhouse. What the fuck was he out there with a semi-automatic weapon? Yeah, no, fuck that. You don't need friends like that, Cool Cat. Narcissistic, entitled people. Fuck that. You don't need friends like that. You need better friends. You need better friends that, like, take accountability for their own assholeness versus trying to put it on you. Likewise, the suppression of the Whiskey Rebellion undercuts any notion of the Second Amendment as an early protector of armed protest. As Professor Saul Cornell observes, Federalists employed the well-regulated militia protected by the Second Amendment as an agent of repression, not a final check on federal tyranny, as some anti-federalists had hoped. Other evidence from the founding and early republic confirms that there was little support for a constitutional right of armed protests. Delia Lithwick and Olivia Lee note that the statute books of some states retain an offense of going armed to the terror of the public, which they either adopted in the 19th century or inherited as the descendant of an English law long predating, and thus likely informing the original public understanding of the U.S. Constitution. Who thinks it's possible for people to assemble peacefully, notwithstanding being armed, about which I say more below, acknowledges that such laws have historical lineage going for them, which matters a great deal under Heller. Thus, Zick concludes that even assuming there is a statutory or constitutional right to open carry in a particular state, laws prohibiting going armed to the terror of the public may validly limit that right. That is an understatement. At least judged by the laws deemed acceptable at the founding, a prohibition on any substantial assembly of armed persons would be clearly valid. Consider a 1701 English court's explication of a scope of the defense of going armed to the terror of the public. If a number of men assembled with arms in terram populi, though no act is done, it is a riot. If 3 come out of an alehouse and go armed, it is a riot. Though a man may ride with arms, yet he cannot take 2 of him with him to defend himself, even though his life is threatened. When was the last time you went hunting for food, Groot? What were you hunting for? What did you shoot? And anyway, no one's taking away your right for a gun. They're still saying that the second... Yeah, that's a riot. That's so funny. That's so funny that it says that, because, like, earlier on, when Downtown Drew was here, which Downtown Drew, he's from that area. Kenosha, he's from that area. So he had very passionate ideas about it. And I was trying to say, hey, let's not use words like riot. And he was like, no, it was a riot. It was a riot. Against, you know, the BLM. The BLM people were rioting. Which, according to this definition here, the counter-protesters that were out there armed were actually the rioters. How you eat squirrels and turtles, Groot? But he wasn't alone, Cool Cat. He was with the whole posse. He had a whole crew. And he has been identified associating with established illegal militia groups. He has been. Yeah, I know quail. Quail, yeah, you can eat quail. I don't know about squirrel. You don't be eating squirrel, Groot. And you can find much more effective weapons for squirrels than a gun. Especially a semi-automatic. Yeah, not armed. Not armed. So that statement I just read, that was from a British law, so it wasn't US law, but that was a 18th century British law. So there's that. Hajimashite. Baha-chan. Baha-chan. Chon. So yeah, if you are gathered with your buddies and y'all are all armed, it's a riot. Even if nothing happens, it's still a riot. It's so ironic because, like, the whole discourse in the Rittenhouse case is that, you know, they were protecting from the riot. I haven't. Let me look it up, Daniel. Siege. No, it's not. Where is it defined? It defined in the Constitution, the Second Amendment, that's militia. And the government does not support, or outside of the National Guard, the government does not acknowledge and respect any militia. Because we have the police for that now. An 11-day siege in 1992 in Idaho. Dog died. Damn, a lot of people died. But he wasn't charged. But yeah, they ended up bringing civil suits against the government. Yeah, because they freaking killed a lot of people and a dog. Yeah, and they got $3 million. That's interesting. I don't remember this. I guess I was too young to know what was going on. Oh, you saw a documentary, Daniel? That must have been a spicy documentary. No, I mean, militias could, back in the day, during the founding republic, militias were also kind of, like local vigilante groups that were just protecting their local domain, be it their home and small, like, yeah, militia groups were not, they had the right to protect against tyranny. I think it is addressed in several of the Federalist Papers that is one of their purposes, that militias, you know, can help safeguard against tyranny. But ultimately, militias were like personal protection. Oh, the dog, you can hear him. Come on, Bitcoin. Bitcoin, what do you want to say? What are you trying to say? You want to tell us something? Yeah, he's begging. I have some little snacks, but don't worry, he is not a starving dog. He actually got into a pack of crackers at my house before we came, and I had to clean them up because the guy doesn't even like crackers, and he just like crunched every single one of them and left crumbs everywhere. Oh yeah, you didn't do that? You didn't do that? Are you sure? This is Bitcoin, by the way. I'm sorry, I can't read your name. But it's nice to meet you. My name is Elise. Thanks for dropping by the stream, hanging out. We are talking about the constitutional right for armed assembly. Is it or isn't it a riot? Yeah, I'll watch it, Daniel. Oh, I'm sure I'm already being watched, Cool Cat. That's why I, like, publicize all of my thoughts and ideas, because I want the people watching to know. There are neighborhoods in New York that police won't go after dark. Hey, Thumper420, welcome in. It's nice to meet you. Oh, he was connected to Timothy Maffei. Wow. There's a rule now that they can't revise the Constitution. No, that's not true. We have not revised our Constitution for the longest period of time since it was fucking written. Oh, Cool Cat. Yeah, that's something else. I don't know about the curfew thing. Oh, you think Bitcoin wants... No, Bitcoin doesn't like guns either, Groot. If they're armed, Daniel, yeah. Yeah, my tea's got a little caffeine in it. Yeah, if your group is armed, it is considered a riot. That's what we've just come to learn. I would think that, like, our court, especially since this is a law professor at Cornell University, like one of the top law schools in the freaking country, maybe even in the world. Like, he would not be referencing a British law here unless there was a legitimate connection. How do I feel about NW? Roe versus Wade? Oh, shit. We're not talking about that today, but I have talked about it in the past. Yeah, it scares the fuck out of me. It's really scary. Yeah, so there's today, big news today, that there's a Supreme Court case that's going to be ruled that could potentially turn back Roe versus Wade, which would be a big freaking deal. I mean, Texas, we talked about this, actually, Pococha, y'all remember, I talked about this a couple months ago, about the Texas law. And the theme of that Constitution study group wasn't so much looking at abortion law specifically, but it was looking at the precedence of state law over federal law. And how, yeah, the only way we would be able to empower states to make really aggressive laws like Texas or Mississippi is trying to make, the federal level would have to, the Supreme Court would have to rule on that. And they're doing that right now. And a lot of people are really afraid that the current politics of the Supreme Court will allow it to happen. I don't think it's the end of the world. I think it's a signal for some really bad shit, but we've been having some bad signals for a long time now, so enough. What else is new? And I hope it just snaps people into, yeah, they should. Plan B is really fucking expensive. If you really want people, I mean, yeah, and we need to invest more into sex education as well. I mean, there's a lot of ways around it, to alleviate, you know, some of the influence that a bad decision like that will do to our current system. Yeah. Oh, really? Is it Mississippi? That might be what you're talking about. Hey, Hazel, welcome in. Hey, Robert. Hello. Thanks for saying hi to everybody. Hazel, we're doing a Constitution study group today talking about the constitutionality of armed assembly. We've come to learn that it's actually not constitutional. But so what's the verdict? Yeah, it is. It's unconstitutional. Actually, carrying a firearm in public is unconstitutional. And if you're carrying that firearm with a group of people with a similar intent, Dave, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry, Dave. You're not invisible. I've been seeing you, and I meant to say hi to you earlier. Let me scroll back up and see what else you said. Yeah, you gave me your eyes earlier, Dave. Sorry I didn't say hi. And peace signs. Dave, I appreciate you. Thank you for being here. I hope you had a great day. Well, open carry is a state by state. What we're talking about today is like the federal constitution, which before, when we yeah, poor Dave. When we were talking about the Texas abortion law, we were specifically talking about how the federal law does trump state law. So if the state does make different laws, like the federal level could step in and say, oh, no, this is actually what the Constitution says, or this is what the Supreme Court has ruled on this. Oh, good question. We got a good question from Reddit here. So, is it possible to assemble a virtual militia? Now, you're throwing out some heavy stuff with that one. A virtual militia? What would that mean? What do y'all think about a virtual militia? Instead of bearing arms, it would be lawful to carry cyber weapons to protect yourself against virtual tyranny. Yeah, I think that's a powerful question. What's my favorite crime to commit? None. I don't like to commit any crime. What cyber weapons? Viruses, trolling, hacking. I mean, there's a lot. There's a lot of cyber weapons. I mean, that's why. Oh, I like the speed. I do like the speed. I do like to speak. Sometimes I have to. It's not that I like to, it's just that I have to. Tasers are not cyber weapons. See, that's where it's tricky. You know, what if you hack the mainframe? Like, it depends. Yeah, no, not legal. Now, the other question that our friend posed was, what if you're using cyber weapons to protect yourself? And that's interesting. That's interesting. And that's a whole other topic that I do talk about a lot on this platform, which is trolling. And I think that trolling is by far our most effective and powerful weapon in this whole fucking thing that we're talking about. So if you are a troll, if you identify with being a troll, if you enjoy trolling, please give me a follow. Please come back and hang out more, because I do talk about this often. And there is such a thing as good trolling. There is such a what's a platform? Oh my goodness. Lasers will burn you. Fuck yeah, they will. But we're not talking about physical. We're talking about virtual. We're talking about virtual. Hey, so the store owners during the LA riots that were protecting themselves, that's a whole different thing, because that was their own property. That's not the, what was the word that was used in this article? Let me get the word. I forget the word, but an appropriate place. Like, if you are on your own personal property, yeah, then the Second Amendment is going to protect you. But like, yeah, if you're just out in public gathering with others, especially with the intent. Thank you for the follow, Rap. Yeah, it's not vigilante because it was their own shops. It wasn't like, oh yeah, virtual could be hacking your home appliances. Is virtual homicide okay? You're talking about, I mean, isn't virtual homicide happening all the fucking time in like Fortnite and shit? Alright, I'm gonna go catch the comments. Yeah, with the LA riots, you did not see vigilantes coming out. You were seeing business owners protecting their own property. It's a very different story. Too many fake accounts. Yeah, Groot, you control. That's why I put away your gun and let's just fucking troll. That's it. Yeah, so, okay, so yeah, your personal data is your personal property. Yeah, so if you are, it's murky though. I'm not making any kind of claim about how I know that would go down, but I would say ethically, if your personal data was being compromised and you were using the cyber weapons to protect, I think that's ethical. I'm not against that. Yeah, they can hack your appliances. But we're talking about self-defense here. We're not talking about, like, you going and hacking someone else. Like, if someone's trying to hack your stuff and you were able to turn around and hack them in return, I would say, yeah, that's ethical. I would say so. That's a very good question. I think that's interesting. But yeah, back to the trolling thing. You know, we brought that up, and I bring this up a lot. The good thing, and there's research. You know, I've looked at peer-reviewed articles just like this one about it, but there's research that says that the positive effect that they found from trolling, all types of trolling, including like the violent, hateful type of trolling, which we usually think of, the positive point to it is that it helps a community renegotiate its culture. And that's a good fucking thing. That's a good thing, because that gets people to think, that gets people to question things, that gets people to like want to question the status quo, which is what we fucking need right now. Yeah, it starts the dialogue. Yeah, exactly. Now, there is such a thing as employing hate in your trolling versus employing just fun and love in your trolling. Oh, what is a hack? You know, hacking is typically, like, it's a broad definition for, just being able to, like, deal with the, like, programming of something, the software, to, like, get into some system, or to compromise something, or to change something. Hacking means a lot of things. It means a lot of things. To steal doesn't necessarily mean to steal. Like, you can hack to steal. But hacking in and of itself is just like the act of manipulating software or hardware, you know, to get inside of it and do something, which you can steal once you've hacked into a system. You can break it. You can, lots of things you can do with hacking. Yeah, so yeah, so this is what our friend on Reddit's asking, is like, what if someone's trying to steal your identity? Does that give you the ethical, moral right to self-defend? To, like, hack in return? I'd say yeah. Yeah, that's right. Just because it's ethical doesn't mean it's legal. That's why I'm saying, like, I'm not saying, like, fucking A, especially when it comes to, like, the internet and the metaverse shit, like, a lot of this stuff is not, you know, cut and understood by the legal system, so it is, I think, very likely for anything to deal in this space just to be considered criminal. So be careful. Like, I am not advocating for open hacking, but you asked my opinion, especially about the ethics. Yeah, I think it's completely ethical and could be justified as self-defense. Yeah, if you hack the hacker, yeah. Yeah, they're doing crimes. Just like if someone's trying to break into your house, they're doing a crime. But you can't wait for the police to come and help you, so that's why some people choose to have, you know, their firearm in their home. Then you can bully the troll, ban them, teach them, or join them, right? Cool cat, exactly. The troll, I guess, can expose ideologies, making it so that it's not all hidden from society. Exactly. Yeah, Daniel, I'm streaming to Reddit. Can you hurt a hack? Yeah, you can hurt a hacker. It's hard, because, like, usually hackers, professional hackers, especially ones that are, like, professionally doing it, you know, as crime, they know what they're doing. So, like, they protect themselves, because not only are they trying to protect themselves from, like, us compromising them when they attack us, but also for the law from finding them. Tef, thanks for trolling. Tef just wrote troll in the Twitch comments. Alright, it's almost 6 o'clock. I have to go. But this has been an extremely productive conversation. I feel good, yeah. Fuck it. Fuck guns. Fuck it. More trolling. If only Kyle Rittenhouse could just be a fucking loving troll on the internet. Instead, you know, oh, can't I spam it? I'm so sorry. I'm turning off the stream now, but I'll come on later, because, yeah, I'm going to try to work on my meter later. Ah, shit, I can't even do that. Damn, the meter's high tonight. I think I'm going to use my freeze pass. I have an hour. You're always trolling too? Good, good, good. Yeah, I've got a tea tasting coming in, hosting a date. Somebody I've never met before. He just moved to town. He wants to, meet. Like, we had mutual friends introduce us, and he hit me up today, and he was like, hey, I've got a date tonight, and I don't know if it's a guy or girl, I don't know. But they like tea. Can I have my date at your tea room? I'm like, fuck yeah. Yeah, the meters. No, can I spam it? I really have to go. Be careful. Yeah, I will. I got my protection right here. I got my little my guard dog right here. Yeah, you gonna guard him? You gonna keep him out? Yeah, can I spam it? I'll come back on. Yeah, this meter is vicious. Vicious meter. I should have worked harder on yesterday's meter, but I had so much work yesterday. Alright, y'all. I love you all. I appreciate the space that we held together today and these very, heavy conversations. It's good. It's good. We're learning together. We're learning how to become better with each other. So, happy, loving trolling to all of y'all. Keep it going. Keep it flowing. Oh, you missed the whole thing, Cool Cat? I'll see y'all on Friday. Tef, I have no time for a raid, so I'm just gonna turn off the stream, but I'll see you later.